I am Cinderella, but today I met my prince. I thought he could bring me happiness, but I totally missed that he was just a scum. The story starts a week ago. I'm a Russian American, but I've never accepted that label. Honora, it's a very old-fashioned name. I call myself Anya. I speak only English. I won't let anyone define me by where I came from. I work at a strip club. I'm used to the stares, the grabs, the games. Dancing in front of men wearing barely anything? That's nothing new to me. Everything started that night. Like some damn fairy tale, Cinderella meets her prince. His name was Ivan, a young Russian guy. Walked in and asked for me by name. Said he wanted someone who spoke Russian. I did my best to hide my failure of identity. I didn't want to do it, honestly. But money talks, and I don't waste time pretending otherwise. Yeah, I'm Russian by blood, but my speaking's crap. I can still understand enough, though. Turns out, even my broken Russian was enough. He looked at me like I'd cast a damn spell. Next day, he invited me to his place. I went. Soon as I walked in, I froze. That place was insane. Pure royalty. Then upstairs, a damn riverside view from the bed. It was next level rich. Ivan didn't waste time, just dropped it. He's 21, 2 years younger than me. I had to ask what he did, and he didn't even flinch. Said his dad's some big-shot Russian businessman. After that, I was basically his private dancer. Then he asked me to his New Year's party. At night, we saw what real luxury meant. When midnight hit, he asked me to stay. When we woke up, it was 5 p.m. the next day. I told him I had work. He just said he'd book me for the week. So yeah, 7-day girlfriend experience unlocked. That week, I learned what being filthy rich really looked like. He didn't do anything. Servants handled it all. The cars, just decoration. Those so-called friends, just vibe workers. He paid for everything. Mention a city and boom, private jet, penthouse suite, done. We jetted to Vegas and blew through a week like it was nothing. When the week ended, I didn't want it to stop. I was hooked, but then he said he had to go back to Russia for work. Didn't know when we'd meet again. Then he said if he got married here, he could stay. Right there in bed, he proposed. Didn't think twice. Vegas weddings are faster than ordering takeout. Found some 24/7 chapel? Done. Back in New York, I became a rich man's wife. Quit my job without blinking. It felt better than hitting the lottery. Everyone said I'd made it, only one didn't cheer. My nemesis from the club. Diamond, that bitch, just sneered and said it wouldn't last more than 2 weeks. Back then, I'd have cursed her out. Now, we're in different worlds. Just think she's jealous of me, the wife of a rich family. I don't even bother. I was finally living the life of my dreams. But the dream hadn't lasted more than a few days when the bad news came. The news that Ivan had married a prostitute had flown back to Russia. Ivan's godfather and his guardian since he was 6 years old received a call from Ivan's mother. He was horrified and immediately sent 2 bodyguards over to check on the situation. I've actually felt something was wrong for a long time. I asked Ivan if he had told his family or not. Do his parents know about me? He always gave a perfunctory answer, saying something useless and pretty. As luck would have it, just after this, 2 bodyguards broke into the house with a finished look on their faces. They checked our marriage certificate, took pictures and sent them to the godfather on the spot, and the news quickly reached Ivan's mum's ears. The godfather didn't dare to delay and came right away in person. Over here, Ivan's face changed when he heard that Mum and Dad would be arriving tomorrow at noon, and he panicked like a child who hadn't grown up. He casually threw on a shirt and was ready to run. I wanted to go with him and said wait for me to change my clothes. He said bye, turned around and disappeared, didn't even look at me, left me at the mansion and fled on his own. But I'm a girl in my early 20s. How have I ever seen such a battle? All I could do was to get mad and keep making noise, trying to find a way out. 10 minutes later, the godfather arrived. He was very calm and said straight to the point. This marriage must be annulled, not divorced, but directly annulled. There is no negotiation. I caught a golden son-in-law. It's hard to turn over. How can I give up so easily? But my godfather's words were like a knife, stabbing me in the heart. He said, stop dreaming. There's no such thing as a Cinderella fairy tale in this world. I held up my diamond ring to prove my identity, but as soon as I showed it, the bodyguard snatched it away, saying it was bought with Ivan's father's money. Not even a ring belonged to me. What was I left with? All I could do was shout like crazy, shouting so loud that my voice was breaking. The godfather finally negotiated with me. He would only give me $10,000 to sign away. I agreed, but I had one more request. I had to see Ivan. This time we sort of agreed and went looking for Ivan together. There was nothing else to do but to ask from house to house and look for people like dogs. From Ivan's friend's restaurant to the pool hall he loved to go to as a kid. The more we looked, the colder it got. At night, Igor, the bodyguard, brought the red scarf out to me, and I reluctantly put it around my neck. Finally, we found a clue in a nightclub, but unfortunately, Ivan had just left without even settling a single bill. Finally, we tracked him down to the club where I had worked. Ironically, he was in Diamond Sister's VIP room. The pair of dogs got together, but I couldn't care less. I just wanted to see Ivan. I just wanted to hear him tell the truth. But he was so drunk, he didn't want to say anything. The godfather saw that something was wrong and simply took him by force. Sister Diamond saw me in a sorry state and didn't forget to laugh at me. I couldn't stand it and fought with her on the spot. My face was scratched, but the pain in my heart was more intense than physical pain. When we got to the court, there was a lot of arguing. It turned out that the judge said that the marriage was made in Las Vegas and the divorce could only be done there. I was completely dumbfounded. Ivan's parents were on their way from the airport and the godfather went to pick them up. I finally met my father and mother-in-law. I was so nervous that I greeted them in Russian, a language I used to refuse to speak, now reduced to a tool for pleasing them. But sadly, they didn't even bother to acknowledge me. His mother said just one sentence, and Ivan nodded right away, obedient as a little dog, ready to get on the plane to Las Vegas for the divorce. My dream shattered completely. I still hadn't given up. I kept whispering in his ear as we walked, trying to move him with a final touch of softness. Then finally, he snapped and threw some curses at me, like he was scolding a stray dog that wouldn't go away. In that moment, I finally saw the truth of this marriage. There was no love, no promise, no future. To him, this whole marriage was nothing but a ridiculous game, a thrill in his boring life. And me, I was the cheapest token he could play with. My pride was shattered completely. They could afford the best lawyers money could buy, while I had to sit around waiting for some overworked legal aid, like a pathetic joke that doesn't belong anywhere. So I had no choice but to follow them onto the plane, like an obedient prisoner, accepting whatever fate they'd laid out for me. I heard them say I'd been forgiven, and I heard them still arguing about benefits, but none of it mattered to me anymore. But when Ivan called me a whore right in front of them, I snapped. Like a skinned animal backed into a corner, I pointed at his face and lashed back with everything I had. By the time we landed, I knew the ending was already written. I signed the papers as they asked, but deep down, I just wanted one thing, an apology from him. Just one human moment of remorse. But I was being stupid. That whole family walks around like they were born above the clouds. Why would they ever bow their heads? I told them it was their own failure as parents. Their spoiled son only married me to defy them, to humiliate them using me as a weapon. They were the ones who needed to reflect. It was never about me. I tore off their red scarf, took off their fancy coat, as if stripping myself free from a bad farce. That moment, I severed every last tie with this absurd marriage. Next, the bodyguard Igor was assigned to take me home. We spent one last night in Ivan's luxurious mansion. My emotions were still a storm I couldn't calm. Igor tried saying a few kind words, but they only made me angry. I snapped right back at him. Who was he to pity me? He didn't understand me. We weren't from the same world, never had been. The next morning, I packed up and got ready to leave this lavish dream behind. Igor drove me back to where I really belonged, the slums. Cracked, dirty, damp, but it was my route. But just before I got out, Igor pulled the ring out of his pocket. Yes, that wedding ring, the one that once belonged to a lady. He had stolen it back from me in secret. I froze. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what I could possibly give in return. I'd always looked down on him, but in that moment, every bit of that prejudice collapsed. I had changed long ago. I had become someone who could never go back to being the older Nora.